And of course, we're competing with cardboard, which has been used for decades now, I guess, in the point of sale. And this is your point about different shapes being different, having a different impact. I mean, are we going to see lots more people replacing cardboard, do you think, with different shaped screens?
Well, I certainly hope so. But it's not going to happen overnight. We're seeing some interesting take-up on that, but not necessarily. But in our case, we're not seeing it from retail. We're seeing it for people that are using out-of-home displays for other applications. So, for example, in a corporate lobby, people are building them into large corporate lobbies to get messages, their brand message, across to their customers. There's for example, Deutsche Bank in Hong Kong, on one of their executive floors where you have to be a private banking customer, have a huge display of microtiles simply to get Deutsche Bank's message across to their customers in a controlled and a special way. So that's where we see this happening. So that was an application that paper wouldn't have even ever been considered for, because it wouldn't have just never worked.
Would never work.
So I think I don't think it's a case necessarily, Adrian, of replacing paper. I think it's using it in places that paper wouldn't have been appropriate in the first place.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
On that note, we work with SFR, Vodafone, over in France, and they did a study and realised that actually it was taking, to replace all the prices next to the phones, it was taking staff an average of 2.5 days per month to make all the changes and double check that they've actually put the right price next to the right phone. So we changed all those to small LED screens, and now they can update them quick, because they realise 2.5 days of sales time is an awful lot of lost revenue. So they noticed the benefit there of changing from static point of sale to screens.
Well,
I think with cost of technology falling a bit as well, and that kind of thing, and this carbon footprint that a lot of companies are keen to sort of promote and look at, want to become a bit more greener. They're looking at it. That's one of the reasons we're being given by some clients who are looking at digital signage. The speed is one thing, obviously, and also.
Yeah. So in the point of sale, you're saying we're seeing just not normal size screens. You're seeing small. What do you call them? Countertop screens.
Yeah, just absolutely. Yeah, just all sizes really. Again, it comes back to what's the application, what's the objective, and then the technology will follow that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So things like EPOS integration would be key to some of the stuff.
Yeah, I think that's going to come, and that'll evolve. But I agree with Bob that it's not going to go. I think there will be a shift of the print towards digital out of home, because in the past it's been proven that a lot of that material doesn't find its way into the hands of the consumers. It's lost somewhere along the way. And the kind of green issue, I mean, there's other question on the screens and how you make that, environmentally friendly as well. But I think it's horses for courses, it's making sure you're using the right media at the right time for what you want to achieve. But there's going to be a shift, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I think without labouring the point on content, I mean, I think we agreed that content's pretty important. I think brave content developers or brave agencies are starting to mix and match things quite nicely now. We see in store windows, we see different types of screens, we see bits of vinyl, see bits of cardboard. We're seeing screens in more, I won't use the word 3D, but they're in a dimension. So there's, the store window has depth. It's not just a flat projection screen, but the really brave people are using all of these things, whether it be projection or an LCD screen or a microtile or vinyl in windows. And you've done lots of that as well, haven't you? I think in different retail and stores, just mixing it all up and
people are taking their own screens around with them with their iPads. I mean, the screen's with you. I mean, that's an opportunity to place a message as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any display surface is, or any surface can be a display in many
I
respects.
think any square inch is an available piece of real estate that we need to consider as getting the message across somehow, but doing it tastefully and in a cost-effective way.
Tastefully.
So, well, I think tastefully would be better, but not every. Sometimes glaring is good too.
So, I mean, should we talk for a second just about large size displays? We'll talk about big billboards. I mean, there's lots and lots of big billboards out there. It's not in all of your areas. You do a little bit of work in the big billboard sector, but is there going to be any changes in that market, you think, with the?
Well, as I said, I think, I mean, we're mainly involved in the context of a video wall, which that's maybe not what you're thinking about exactly, and also in stadium for large size displays and so on.
Well, what's the technology changing those things? We are talking about stadiums or even big billboards. You've done big screens in retail theatre. You've done big screens in stadiums. We've done big screens in shopping malls.
Yeah. Well, you know, the issue from our point of view is an integration of strategy is too broad, but the integration of what you're doing with your visual displays, you know, whether it's around a stadium or whether it's in a retail environment. So I think, you know, whereas things have grown up in individual, you know, disparate kind of investments, there's work going on now which is much more about how do I leverage the total, how do I make sure it's all fully integrated. So, you know, again, the example of the stadium is, and this can equally work in a retail environment, is what we've talked about as a moment of exclusivity, where you can basically make all displays go towards a particular brand, and you can sell that, you know, as a premium to make sure that, you know, that message goes out wherever you are in that environment, whether it be a shopping mall or a stadium in one go. So I look at more about, you know, don't treat them as individual posters, even if it's a big, massive poster. Think about it as the total. And that may be, you know, based upon, you know, looking at the total infrastructure or looking at a journey, you know, as people are coming into...
basically not being isolated.
Yeah, they're coming into the shopping mall, they see the outside poster, which hopefully is drawing them somewhere, you know, into a shop and then further into a brand. So I think you've got to look at them as part of the total strategy, on the total journey that you're trying to take a consumer.